Hey HMC, Evan here, wearing my architectural shirt, keeping it architectural here with the Guggenheim. We've been thinking about doing something like this for a while now, and it's only under now these circumstances that we're in with COVID-19 that I really felt like it's super important to get into your eyeballs and your earballs, and let's keep in touch and let's talk about the technology that's been happening in the background and the foreground to ensure a successful transition to work from home, kind of expose the people behind that process and show you the really cool stuff that's been going on as we've made this transition. So we didn't have a good name, and so what we've decided to do is pivot, and the situation has created the perfect opportunity for us to call this Quarantech. So here it is, the inaugural episode of Quarantech, the show where we go behind the scenes and show you all the technology that we've been implementing at HMC to get everybody's level raised up, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's right on the front lines of what we're doing to enable everybody a successful transition to work from home, to work on our projects in the cloud, whatever the case may be. And so whether it's BIM technology, design technology, training, information technology, visualization, VR, any of these things, I kind of wanted to create a place where we could share that information out with you. Hopefully that's like on a weekly basis. I'm not going to totally stick to that right now, but we'll see what happens over time. But I'm really excited to bring you the inaugural episode of Quarantech. The first person that I'm going to call is our BIM director, Nancy Reyes, who's been instrumental in getting us into the cloud in the last couple weeks so that everybody can work from home. So I'm going to call her right now.
All right, let's give Nancy a call here.
Hi, Evan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I like your minimal office background setup there. No visual clutter.
There is no visual clutter on my desk either. I try to keep it so as clean as possible. That way I can find all the things I'm working on.
Nice.
It's basically just online all the time. So I have all my work on the cloud. Our entire digital practice group is working from Echo and Teams, and my email inbox is just from people reaching out that haven't really taken advantage of all the platforms that we have at HMC.
Yeah.
So we're working and bringing everybody up to speed to what those are.
Yeah. So it's been a crazy couple weeks. You're the official first guest on our brand new show that I'm calling Quarantech here. So you get to share what you've been working on with BIM technology at HMC over the last, let's just call it the last week. And so just so everybody knows, I asked everybody to kind of come up with something that they thought would be interesting to share from a technology standpoint with what we've been dealing with since we've been on our everybody working from home. So what do you think is the most important thing that you want to share?
So I think everyone needs to learn about what we did to get everyone on the cloud. So we collaborated with managing principals to get a initial list of projects that were a high priority to get into BIM 360.
Yeah.
We combed through those projects and started communicating with our digital practice team to train them on how to bring over 120 projects on BIM 360. So we prepared acquiring new licenses from Autodesk for both Revit licenses, as well as increasing our volume of BIM 360 licenses to allow for the expansion of this platform that we were using. But now we have tripled the use of it. So this is great for a design technology standpoint or a digital practice standpoint, as well as a BIM practice, because now we're utilizing more tools that will launch HMC to a new realm of tools that we were not using before, like Glue, and a couple other options in BIM 360 platform that we can utilize. The name's escaping right now. So
yeah.
We trained our entire digital practice team. Today, Hakopian joined our team 3 days before his initial start date, just because we were planning on this huge expansion of BIM 360. And he was so gracious that he started 3 days before and just dove right into it. So in our entire digital practice group, our BIM technology side, they just were magnificent in making sure that this went out without a hitch.
Yep.
So we worked in the last week and a half, or since March 13th was when we started planning for it. March 18th, we had probably about 40 projects already uploaded into the system. So in that short amount of time, now we're just closing up a couple of the projects that are still need to either be upgraded or identifying which ones don't qualify for actually being hosted in there. So a lot of projects are, not all of them, but some projects were in CA. They don't work with our systems, and you can learn about all of that information on our FAQ page. We talk about the reasons behind those. So, we also, with your help, Evan, we generate that FAQ that has pretty much all the questions that people keep asking about working from home.
Yeah. So
with all of that, I want to share the dashboard that we created.
Yeah, do it.
So let me bring it up. And it's on Echo. So we created a list of all the projects and their priorities. So in here, people are able to see if the project has been uploaded. So actually, this number just changed this afternoon from 96, I think it was, to 116 completed projects. So our team has been able to do that also with the help of Max and Eddie in Ontario 1 and Ontario 2. They've been phenomenal also supporting the entire firm. So I want to make sure that they get recognized for all the work that they have done. And here you're able to search by the projects within a particular studio. So in LA, it was one of the first offices to come offline, so that was a high priority office to get back up and running. So Yannick in that office pretty much took all those on and worked over the weekend to get them all up to date and included in the system. So they have all been updated for that particular studio. And as you dig into each of the projects, you can see project number, who's in charge of that project, and who in digital practice helped put that together. So at the end of all this, we're really trying to track how things got uploaded. We are also putting all of these projects on Unify to track how we are using these files. So this also is going to help our BIM technology group understand how we're building the projects. What are the common things that we're putting inside of the models, best practices, identifying things like warnings and things that are common that will help the health of the models. So we're going to be creating a lot more of these dashboards and hopefully hooking them up to the Echo projects directly. So each team that's creating a project in Echo will have a dashboard that gives them the health of the project. So that's something that we're working as we're uploading all those files. We also have a running list of information that will run up into the application that we have, which is Unify Project Analytics. And my talk for our AU talks that we've been having got postponed. So what we're going to be talking about is how do we use the data that we're currently collecting and putting it in that platform. So that's something that we're going to be putting together for the entire firm.
Can you pull up Unify and just show people what that looks like?
Yes, of course.
That'd be cool. Do you have like 9 different monitors with all the different information around you right now?
I have many different monitors. No, I have one monitor and I have one computer. And I also have a Citrix, which was super helpful to be able to get into the system using Citrix.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. With the Citrix receiver that IT is setting up for people that have projects that are in Revit versions older than 2018, they can still access their projects.
Yeah.
So everyone has access to the Unify application on the web portal. People are not going to see all of the features that we have available. They will see the project analytics, and a couple other items that I can't recall which ones, but you will definitely see project analytics in there. You'll see the number of projects that we have uploaded. So as we are finishing uploading projects, we try to put them up into the system. So we're still lagging. We also had to increase the capacity for Unify for people that didn't have an account. So now we're uploading a lot more projects in here and giving people more access to the Unify platform to download Revit families and content. So in here you see the list of all the projects that have been added. We have a running tally here of 64 total projects with over 116 individual Revit models. And we're probably about 30% complete in uploading all these projects. So it's going to be a lot of data we're going to be collecting, and it's fantastic when for myself, because I'm a data geek.
Yeah.
And this is how I learn how our company is utilizing our resources.
Yeah.
So in here you can see, for example, Cal State Fullerton project, which I've been collaborating with that team very closely. We have, their sync times. We are observing their warnings. We also have all other files listed here. So if we want to look at one of the documentation models, we can find the overall health. We can see who has been accessing the file, what version of Revit everybody's using in the team, which is very important. If we are out of sync with the Revit models, the versions of Revit that we're using, the models will start to act up. And it never fails. It's going to be the time where you have a deadline, and then the project is just going to crash.
Yep.
So this is super useful for us to start tracking what those trends are, and also to help teams manage the information within the project. So we can track how many linked CAD files there are in the project. And this project has 0, which is super commendable that they don't have any CAD links in here. And they've been very fantastic about not putting native components into the model, which helps performance a lot. They have 15 Revit links, which includes files within themselves, and then our template comes with additional models. So these eventually will be removed from the project, but you can also see how many worksets the projects have. So we'll go into more detail when we do the lunch and learn for this information. But again, anyway, everybody has access to this through the Unify application. You can come in here and check to see where the status of your project is on the Unify side. We will be updating our dashboard to show how many projects are now on Unify. So we'll be updating that this week. So you can go back into the dashboard and look for that information.
Yeah, it's super useful to have this kind of deep insight into the models. It helps us kind of figure out why things might be acting up rather than just knowing if they're acting up or not. So it lets us be a little bit more proactive when it comes to what we know about our models from a day-to-day working standpoint. Why all of a sudden is it taking longer to sync? Why is it taking longer to open? Why is it crashing? And so it's just a great way to kind of see inside the model and look under the hood more than just opening it up inside of Revit. So super cool stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing. That was great.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
All right. So I'm going to... We know where to find you. All right. Yeah. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for sharing.
All right. Thanks, Evan.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was cool. It worked. Let's give Noah a call and see what the design technology team has been working on.
Hey, Evan.
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going good. So.
I like the office setup. That looks good.
Oh, yeah.
Very professional.
We found this IKEA shelf on the side of the road, actually. No joke.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the inaugural episode of Quarantech, Noah Kelly, our design technology manager. And hey, Noah, so what have you guys been working on for the last week that you could share with the rest of the company?
Yeah. So recently we brought on a design technologist to HMC, and so we've been diving into projects around the firm, helping people solve wicked problems. And so one of the first things I think we could talk about is Chabot College. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think so. Yeah.
But we're going to go with it.
Okay.
Right?
That's right.
You just stick to it, and everyone else will follow suit.
I like how autocorrect on the computer it changes it to chatbot.
Right.
Because everybody knows what chatbots are.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let me share my screen, and I
do it.
Kind of walk you through what we've been putting together. So this is a library project in the Bay Area, and the design team was they had envisioned a louver system that helped the building meet its environmental goals, but also was designed with kind of a randomized louver system in mind. And so they approached us and say, hey, can we develop a tool where we can apply to this building and potentially other buildings down the line, where we can generate a random louver system.
Yeah. So it's kind of it looks random, but in fact it still has to perform at some level that allows it to meet the criteria, right?
Correct. Yeah. And so the first step was really trying to figure out how we're going to set up the louver system and drive that geometry.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of once we figured that logic out, which we're still working out, then we start to test iterations and try to get the system to perform at its best, or given different design criteria and whatnot. And so
once you do that, once you kind of do a bunch of testing with a bunch of different patterns, you can figure out which one performs the best, right? And then dial in the settings and then maybe tweak that one to perform even better, but it still gives you the look and the aesthetic that you want.
Yeah, definitely. And then, working at giving designers some kind of input as well, because they also want to control how it looks. While performance is important, is there a way where we can adjust the design and not necessarily affect the performance in a impactful way?
And there's kind of two different things going on, right? There's the outside in performance, which is mitigating sun exposure or whatever, but then there's also the inside out, because this is a library on a campus and they want to maintain views and things like that. Yeah,
so visibility from inside out is definitely a driving feature, and so that will be we're working on a way to drive that through program. And
cool.
So depending on what's happening on the inside, we can change the louver system.
Nice.
On the screen. And
so cool.
Yeah, and so it's pretty cool so far. We had a meeting this week and we presented two options, and this option is pretty much having the louver height based or louver height for each row based on a master level. And so you can see we're just randomizing the values here, so it really means nothing. But each louver row moves as a whole, instead of
so you maintain those louver. You maintain horizontal datums, but with this kind of a setup.
Correct.
They're not just all over the place. Yeah.
Correct. We do have an option that you can that I show you here, where we allowed it to just be all over the place.
Nice.
Yeah, and so you can start to randomize the location of those louvers, and so just trying to put together different ideas, kind of like a spike sketch to get the design teams, brains churning and understanding how the process works.
Yeah.
And then to be able to figure out next steps for, okay, maybe we need to readjust this script.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too custom, and maybe we need to pare it back and look at couple panel types and how are those performing, and then can we replicate those panel types throughout the facade.
That's cool.
And so we can drive the angle of the louvers individually as well currently, but yeah, it's been really fun, and It's been great working with Brittany, who is from LA. I would say the LA office, but I'm not sure if that exists right now.
Right.
Well, it's still there.
Right. Technically. Cool. So design technology still running strong. Cool thing about this is, because we are kind of forced to work in all these different locations, the tools that we're using still allow us to be collaborative. And what I love about this is, like, this is still this script right here that you're showing is a design problem, and you're showing multiple options to get direction from our design team, whereas like a design team might show larger scale options to a client to get direction from them. So it's a very similar process. It's just happening internally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. So what else has your team been working on over the last couple weeks that you want to show to the rest of the company?
So the other thing that I find pretty exciting is we have put together just like a basic Mscape library for Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
And it maybe doesn't sound that exciting, but it's not technically supported yet by Mscape.
So you're hacking You're hacking the system here.
I don't know if I'd say hacking. Finagling.
You're in a dark room with a neck beard, like typing away, making this happen. Yeah.
Right. And so we have a common library that we're pointing every machine to based on a corporate template, and that's allowing us to reference texture files and load them into everyone's computer if they're connected to our network. And so it's just pretty cool that we're able to provide that for designers, because ultimately we want to remove the barriers for tool adoption and tool use.
And it just makes using the tool easier, right? Like any way that we can remove friction in a semi-complex system just makes adoption way faster, way easier.
Yeah.
So with Mscape here, Mscape's kind of our standard visualization tool now for almost every designer on almost every project, and it works inside of Rhino, it works inside of Revit, it works inside of SketchUp. So the goal here was to map the materials that are just built into the template with materials that work perfectly with Mscape.
Yeah. So really just trying to remove those barriers, trying to give and then increase, I guess, rendering output overall through the firm. If we are making sure that the materials are created equally and that every designer has access to those materials, then in theory our rendering shall continue to increase in quality and then be consistent throughout the firm. So if we're in San Jose and we're producing designs that have birch,
right,
and we're doing the same thing in San Diego, then that birch will look the same. And so the design and the consistency throughout the firm is also a nice and critical piece. So
very cool. So how many materials, if you had to guess right now, have you got built in as kind of defaults?
Ooh, guess. I like that. We have quite a few. I would say in the 20 to 30 material range.
I mean, how many materials do people really need? They need like 4 materials. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, we have like 10 different wood types.
Nice.
At least.
So like a basic set of architectural materials. And the goal with this, like the bigger picture, is even to get this beyond Rhino, right? But it's to have a similar library inside of Revit so that, again, we're matching up what happens in conceptual design all the way through construction documents with the same look and getting that consistency across the board.
Yeah, and then when we go to our visualization team and we're like, hey, we want to use birch material, when they send it back to us or back to the designers, the designers aren't surprised at what the material actually looks like,
right?
Because we're all talking the same language. All the data is kind of flowing through the system.
So swap out a material here and show everybody what happens.
There we go.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so it's not necessarily as nice as you would
There you go.
See it. Mscape, and obviously I have no environment or no context and no ground floor, but there we go.
There it is. Cool. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. That's very. It's really cool to see these developments happen, and I love that it's like bringing consistency across the board. So our projects have a similar look and feel amongst different designers, because we've got designers throughout the firm, and as we get a little bit more consistent with the tools that we're using, we're able to have kind of a nice look, like an HMC look, across all of our projects.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing that stuff. I'm going to give Cody a call and see what's been going on with our training stuff.
Cool.
So thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate you sharing.
Of course. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's give Cody a call and see what's going on the training side. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, it looks like you've got like the very nuclear level blast coming from the side there.
Yeah, that's how it is in LA generally. Everything is kind of don't stare into the light, otherwise you'll burn your retinas. But that's why I keep a cactus here that tries to absorb enough of the radiation that we receive.
Makes it feel like it's in the desert still.
Yeah.
Nice.
Inside meets outside.
Cool, man. So I would love it if, welcome to the first episode of the Quarantech show. It's gonna be great. If you could, I'd love it if you could share kind of some of the stuff that you've been working on the digital practice training side for the last week or two or whatever, and just help get the word out about what's been going on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for everybody who's tuning in, sorry that we haven't been able to do the in-person trainings, but we are going to be looking at how to do those in this new kind of live stream format.
Yep.
But in the meantime, everyone has had to migrate all of their project stuff online. So some of the things that we have been doing to support that effort. First of all, we still have our Echo page, and that's still pretty robustly updated. So I'll be providing some new updated information here for our trainings and their new format to come. But as you noticed, I should say, created this new channel for our HMC Digital Academy. So that ties back into our Learn at HMC effort that we launched back in January. And I want to utilize this channel to kind of keep everybody up to date and have some of the trainings possibly happen through here. But you probably have seen that, we had to do a little bit of learning on our BIM 360 migration. So I've posted the recordings of those past meetings that we have, where we kind of discussed, all these new ways of uploading and working with our model content and how to access our projects now that they're up here. But this is going to be a net positive, I think, overall, because now it's in the cloud. We don't have to worry about the server, and we've kind of opened this door to this whole other way of working and getting information out of our project. So this is actually kind of an exciting addition to our workflow. But again, so through this channel, this is a great way to kind of get used to Teams in general, but also to keep up with communication and to provide like these training seminars that we have going on. You may have seen this latest post coming up. We'll talk more about that next week in next week's episode about our kind of Pinnacle series launch. So I'll save that for later. But in the background of some of this other work that we've done, I want to remind everybody that we still have our LinkedIn Learning. So if you're finding some downtime right now, it's a great opportunity to jump in and look for some of our curated HMC content. So in your browser window, if you go to this browse icon here, look for HMC, you'll see tags related to digital practice and BIM technology and some of the other workshops that that have been curated up here for you, as well as everything else that's on here. You can refer to that learning matrix on Echo for some other resources outside of digital practice here as well. But you probably have seen this remote work, frequently asked questions, wiki popping up with new information as we all scramble to get new resources to make this work for everybody. So you have seen that through this kind of extensive list of like everything you need to do for accessing VPN, to the BIM 360 stuff, to where's Rhino licensing going to work. These are tying into something that maybe a few of you have seen, but maybe not everybody has seen, where there's these links to what are called skill cards. So we've been working on this for quite some time, but what is behind that is this whole other Echo group that hosts these one-page how-tos of everything across the firm. So we have a bunch of things for digital practice. So like right now, I think like the latest one that we have from our colleague Noah is how to get your Rhino license from Cloud Server, as well as like a bunch of things of like, how do I access Deltek Vision now that I'm working from home?
Yep.
So we have a bunch of those different things that you can look through here. When you go to this page, you'll see all these kind of one-page listings of how do I do X, Y, and Z, and A, B, and C. But there's another aspect of this too, where some more explanation is sitting behind these pages too, so you can get an idea of what's happening. And we have like a little intro and ways to kind of generate some of your own. So this is something that we're hoping everybody in the firm can contribute to. So there's some documentation here on how to do that, as well as a kind of submission matrix here, or submission form, I should say. So if you want to submit stuff, this is how you do it. But yeah, we're hoping that all of these resources are really going to support this new way of working for a lot of us, and how we're going to stay in contact with each other, how we're going to have the skills to accomplish that, so on and so forth. So
before you jump away from that, can you go into the skill card listings and just show how to filter through the different results?
Yeah, most definitely. So to do that, go to the Media Center.
So this is just, the whole group is called Skill Cards. So if you just search for that in the upper search bar, you'll find this group. It's public, so everybody can access this.
Right. So to narrow things down in order to find what you want, we have this application name category. So if you expand here, we have the application names that we're kind of focusing on. So if you clicked on Revit, for instance, this would narrow things down for all the skill cards related to Revit. So if I want to, let's say, look at, what's a good one in here? I'll plug one of my own, why not? So how do I create a parametric arc in Revit? So what this will do, it'll open up this viewer so you can see that PowerPoint file right here, and you can click through, and it's just a one-page step-by-step guide on how to do certain tasks. And you notice that in some cases there are links to other materials here. So this is like a little video that kind of animates all of those steps. You can kind of see it happening live. So there's other ways that these things can start linking to other content, which we're trying to make pretty robust for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the...
What I love about these is that they're living documents. So all the elements on this sheet that you're looking at right here can be modified over time. Let's say some part of the interface in Revit changes. Mm-hmm. You can swap it out. We can just overwrite this file with the latest version, and they can always be current. There's no special software needed. It's just very simple. So we'll be talking a lot more about skill cards in the future. We're really excited about this.
Yeah, this is a really great resource, and you'll get really good at PowerPoint.
Yep.
as a net bonus. So to close out there, on this page, like I started, here are some kind of quick links to some of the other learning resources that we have. So the LinkedIn Learning obviously is a big one, and then we have some other content that kind of fills in more of the gaps and hopefully kind of brings everybody up to this level, and we can figure out how to work from home and with all this technology the best that we can, make the best of it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And there's so many resources on this page alone to help everybody level up, and that really is our goal in the training aspect of digital practice, and the whole like Learn at HMC initiative that we recently launched for everybody. Is just to raise everybody's digital IQ, whether that's hard skills like these in Revit and Rhino and all the different tools that we use, or if it's in soft skills like management and emotional intelligence and things like that. Like, there's always going to be something to do if you need to fill in some time for any reason. It's always good to invest in yourself and use these.
There's my dogs. They say hi.
Hey, dogs. Yeah. So it's awesome resources, Cody. Thank you so much for sharing what you've been working so hard on. And there's so many things here that I think it gives people a lot to chew on.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you next time, and see you soon.
Bye.
Later.
All right, that is it for the inaugural episode of Quarantech. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't expect them to all be this long. This is definitely a longer episode, but a lot of stuff has gone down in the last week and a half to ensure a successful transition to working from home. Hopefully you got a glimpse of that in the people behind the scenes who are working so feverishly to make sure that was a success. And a huge kudos to all of our team who's done such a great job, along with IT, to make sure that happened so smoothly. I just have one parting thought for you, and that is this. As we kind of think about going back to work as what our normal day-to-day might be, we don't necessarily have to think about it that way. What if we take this opportunity to kind of redefine how we work? What is our normal status quo? It could be whatever we define it to be. So I would love to hear from you in the comments below this video. What would you change on the technology side to position us to be better prepared for the current situation that we're in and for the future? I would love to hear your thoughts on the subject. So until the next episode of Quarantech, be well, stay safe. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.